Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Journey to Health Freedom. Today I have with us Dr. Michelle Gamble. She is an author, educator, mentor, and speaker who specializes in assisting persons with chronic illness to transform their health. She's a mother of 5 children. How do you have time to do all this, Dr. Michelle? And she travels
God.
globally and around the country, speaking and consulting with individuals and groups. She's been a professional educator for over 25 years and a natural healthcare provider for over 20 years. More importantly, she's assisted many people in transforming their health and becoming empowered from previous dependency on drugs, surgeries, and other medical disease management interventions. Her revolutionary message is this: all people have a divine healer within who can break free from physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual pain and suffering to lead happy, healthy, and purpose-driven lives. Today, she seeks to pass on some of the gifts of healing that she was given by teaching men and women how to clear their minds, soothe their hearts, uplift their spirits, and nourish their bodies to heal themselves completely and serve the ones they love with passion and vitality. Now let's turn to her accomplishments. That's another half an hour. This woman graduated summa cum laude from the City College of New York with a Bachelor of Arts in mathematics and English with an emphasis on secondary school education. She then earned a master's and doctorate in naturology. She's board certified as an alternative healthcare provider. She has advanced training and certification in functional endocrinology and blood chemistry, colon hydrotherapy, childbirth, and doula support. She's a certified HeartMath coach and mentor. She's a certified marriage prep facilitator. She completed her training in brain chemistry with the Walsh Institute and the Daniel Amen Clinic. Cool. And completed her coach training in strategic interventions at Robbins Medanes Training. Woman. Mind blown. I don't know where, and you look so young. You'd think you'd be 90 years old to get all that in.
Well, to God be the glory. Let me just say that.
So, Dr. Gamble, welcome to our Journey to Health Freedom. I'm just so delighted to have you here.
Well, I'm definitely honored and blessed to be here with you, to be able to serve the ones that you have in your community.
Well, I thank you so much. And we're going to learn a lot from you today about breath work. So, we breathe all the time, but as we were talking off camera, we don't pay any attention to our breathing because it's just automatic, it's natural. And we don't realize what it affects, how it can calm us, how it can help every part of our body. So, why is breath work the number one thing that you teach to all your students?
Well, Carolyn, as you said in my biography, I want to pass on what was given to me. And my first mentor, as I began my journey into this zone of health and healing, my first mentor, Nanefer Kapata, he started me with breath work. And I was just a teenager then. I was about 17, 18. And he said to me, Michelle, watch your breath. And I was just like anxious to get to the good stuff, like, okay, tell me about the herbs and tell me about the foods and tell me about all of these different things. And he would just smile. And I can see him in my mind right now. He would just smile at me like, and he was probably thinking this impetuous child, just follow the breath. And I truly underestimated the power of the breath when I was that age. But as time went along, I started to see the importance of the breath. And then I started to teach my students, my math students. You know, these were like rambunctious little teenagers, and I had from middle school and high schoolers. And the first thing that we would do every single day in my math classroom was a breathing exercise.
Wow.
And at first I thought, it probably doesn't make a difference. But the moment I realized that it made a difference was when I was absent and I came back and the substitute teacher told me, you know what, Dr. Gamble? They refuse to start their class without their breathing. I was mind blown. You hear me? And I was like, oh my God, out of a math classroom, these little children realize the power of the breath.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why I share it with everyone, because it doesn't make a difference what age you are. It doesn't make a difference how much money you have. It doesn't make a difference where you are located in the world. This is the one gift that I can give to every single person that costs absolutely nothing. And it will heal regardless of who you are or what your circumstances are. I don't care if I'm dealing with someone who has cancer or someone who has ADD or someone who is dealing with depression. I always begin with the breath. And the reason why we begin with the breath is because it addresses all aspects of your being. It addresses the physical, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual. It affects every part of your body. Every system in your body is affected by the breath, whether it be the hormonal system, the immune system, the skeletal system, the digestive system, the muscular system, the mental system, the autonomic nervous system. Every single system in your body is affected by the breath.
Wow. We just don't know that. We're not aware how important it is.
And I think that is perhaps the biggest misunderstanding that people have about the breath. As you said, we take it for granted. You know, people say, yeah, I'm breathing. Of course I'm breathing. And we don't recognize that we have learned a breath pattern that is contrary to health and healing. You know, when we come into this world, we are divinely designed and we have the divine programming within us. So if you look at a baby breathe, you'll notice that the breaths are slow and they're deep. And you'll notice that the abdomen rises and falls gently for a baby. As opposed to when we get older, we have been conditioned to breathe from the upper chest. In fact, most of us have the misperception that a deep breath is, you know, even when you go to your medical
But it's
doctor, and this is
not.
what kind of, it's not, Carolyn. And see, that's the thing. Our medical doctors themselves are telling us something erroneous. So you go to the medical doctor, and of course, they want to listen to your lungs, right? And so they're like, take a deep breath. And so when they tell me that, I'm breathing in and I'm having what we call a diaphragmatic breath, where my abdomen is expanding and contracting. And they're like, breathe deeply. I'm like, I am breathing deeply. And then I'm like, oh, duh. Oh, okay, I know what that means. They mean for me to do upper chest breathing, you know, and that is not a deep breath. In fact, that is a breath that is extremely shallow. When you're breathing from the upper chest, you're filling only about a third of your lung capacity. And the majority of the vasculature of your arteries is around the lower part of your lung. And so it is only when you breathe in deeply, And what I tell people, the way that you monitor that is to put one hand on your chest and one hand on your abdomen. And then I ask them, take a deep breath. And then I ask, okay, what part of you moved? Which hand moved? The hand that's over your chest or the hand that's over your abdomen? And for most people, they'll say the hand that's on my chest, obviously, right? I'm like, oh, we've got some work to do. And it's a retraining process to remember the divine design. This is not something new. I wish I could say that I was oh so intelligent and wise and all that kind of good stuff, but really and truly, all of my optimal lessons I've learned from my children. As they say, we learn the most important lessons before fifth grade. And this is one of those primary lessons. Look at a way a baby breathes, and you will see that that breath is a deep, soothing, smooth breath that goes in and the abdomen rises or it expands, and a completely exhalation and the abdomen collapses.
Wow. And when we breathe, we're breathing in oxygen. So if we breathe very shallowly, what does that do to our bodies? Because our bodies are not getting oxygen to all the systems that need it, our brain.
So, when we have that shallow breath, there are a couple of things that happen. As you correctly stated, one of the reasons why we want to breathe in deeply is to be able to get that oxygen into the body. And this oxygen is going to do a couple of things. Number one, we all know that oxygen needs to go in through the lungs and into the cells, and therefore be carried to all of the different areas in the body. What many people don't realize is another part of it is that you want to have that proper exchange of also exhaling completely and releasing the carbon dioxide and all the other toxicity. In fact, the majority of your toxins are released through the breath. Did you realize that? And or should I say, optimally speaking, the majority of our toxicity can be released through the breath. But again, most people are not breathing in deeply, and most people are not breathing out completely. And so that is one of the things that we start our journey on in terms of learning to discern, where is my breath? Is my breath held up in my upper chest, or is it flowing and filling the lungs? And then because it's filling the lung is pushing down on the diaphragm, and that reverse pressure is creating the impression that the abdomen is expanding. So it's funny when you talk to little children, they're like, oh, is the air going into my belly? Because it looks like that's what's happening, right? But really what it is that's pressure from the lungs pushing down on the diaphragm. And so what happens is not only is there an inappropriate or insufficient exchange of the oxygen going into the body and the carbon dioxide and all the other toxic gases being released from the body, but the another part of not breathing in deeply and completely is that you're not exercising that diaphragm, that muscle that we said, it separates your lung cavity, right, from your abdominal cavity. And that diaphragm is a beautiful massager of all of these internal organs that we have, so you have your liver, your kidneys, all of the spleen, all of that right below there, right? And if you're not massaging with the up and down of the diaphragm, you're missing out on that good stuff. So that's one thing. The other thing is that the breath allows the body, like I said, to exchange those gases. And a lot of times when we look at lab work, we'll see what we refer to as metabolic acidosis, meaning that there's too much acidity in the body. And the acidity is because the body is not alkalizing. And one of the easiest ways and most efficient ways of alkalizing the body is through the breath. So you have all of this physiology that's going on. And then another issue is that most people are mouth breathers. So even when they do start to breathe in and out, they're breathing in and out through their mouth. So they're bypassing the way, again, the divine design. The divine design is the nostrils. And as we breathe in and out through the nostrils, a couple of things occur. Number one, the air is warmed. Number two, it's filtered. Number three, you're able to produce what we know as nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is a very significant element that helps with the elasticity of our cardiovascular system, right? And so there's so many benefits just physiologically. And I haven't even gotten into the mental, emotional benefits and spiritual benefits. So when we look at respiration, the core of the word respiration is spiros, which is spirit. This gives us that understanding that as we breathe in, and when I work with people, I tell them to visualize the spirit, that divine spirit that animates everything and creates everything in our world, to envision that spirit either as a glowing light of whiteness and purity coming in. And as you're breathing out, to envision that you are clearing out, see all that gooky stuff that's emptying from the body. And as you breathe in, you're reaffirming your connection to the divine. And you're allowing the spirit to enter into your being and to flow into every part of your being. And then mentally, what the breath does, as we start to slow down the breath, it helps us to, in a way, go into, if you remember, if some of your audience remembers, I think I'm speaking to the right age group here, that you remember the movie The Matrix.
Oh, yeah.
And you'd hear, and things just kind of slow.
You do that
And
so
that
well. You've practiced, haven't you?
is talking to kids, yes. They love that. No,
I love
but
it too.
really and truly, the breath helps you to slow down those thoughts, to release the hold that those thoughts have on you as you start to focus on the breath and to follow the breath. It helps to release some of the grip that the thoughts have. And then last but not least, this is one of the primary ways to help people with the release of trauma. The breath allows us to let go of what we refer to as your depleting emotions and to allow the flow, remember the spirit, the flow of the rejuvenating emotions. Because when we speak of joy, when we speak of love, when we speak of things that are from the spirit, the way to access them most readily is through the breath. The breath is the one mechanism that connects the body, the mind, the heart, the spirit on all levels.
So really, it's a conscious practice to bring the Creator's light and love into your body, your entire body, and consciously have it radiate throughout every particle of energy in your body to bring healing, light, and love to your body and your mind.
Absolutely.
And your spirit.
And what I share with people is that it follows the simplicity of what I refer to as the ABCs: assess, build, and cleanse. So through the process of breath work, you're able to do a temperature check on all the areas of your being. As you breathe in deeply, you're able to check the physical aspect, like, okay, where do I feel tension? Where do I feel pain? Where do I feel constriction? Where do I feel that there's like a congealing of the energy? Because a lot of times it becomes like the white noise that's in the background that we don't even realize that we're tensing up certain parts of our body, or that there's pain in a certain location, or that there's just some kind of irritation. We don't even recognize it because we become so accustomed to it. It becomes our quote unquote norm, you
Mhm.
know? And through the breath, you're like, wow, I didn't realize that there was tension in my lower back. I didn't realize that there was like a little tinge of pain in my knee. I didn't realize that I'm kind of bunching up my shoulders. So the breath helps us to become aware of the physical areas of imbalance. It also helps us to recognize, wow, I didn't realize that these thoughts were like looping through me. Like, and the thought may be, I'm not good enough. I'll never heal. There's something wrong with me. There's so many thoughts that are such a loop in us that
Mhm.
we start to identify with them and we think that that is who we are. But the breath helps us to separate ourselves and to see that it is an external entity, meaning that it is not of us and therefore it does not need to become, or we should not claim it as our identity. And then it also helps us to become aware of emotional blockages. So I know many of you in the audience may have heard the idea that the body keeps score. And you may, through the breath, recognize, oh my gosh, I can just feel all of this anger, or I can just feel all of this depression or sadness or grief. And then it helps us to recognize as we do that breath work, am I alignment with my purpose? Am I here doing what I was sent to this world to do? In fact, do I even know why I'm here and why I've been sent to this world at this time in this location? Because everything, every aspect of our lives is intentional when it comes to divine design. Every aspect. And the breath helps us to tap into an awareness and assess all of those different areas. And then we have the opportunity of asking ourselves, are we ready to build? Are we ready to rebalance? Are we ready to rejuvenate mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually? And the breath can do that. And last but not least, the breath can also help us to cleanse, to clear away, to release various toxins, whether it be physically, as I was sharing before with the exchange of gases and all that kind of good stuff, mentally, to give you the ability to let go of the thoughts, what we refer to as the mental gremlins or the ants, emotionally, to finally release ourselves from the demons that plague many of our hearts, and spiritually. Because in reality, even though the body keeps the score, the spirit, the breath can clear the board.
You know, as you were speaking, um, it just occurred to me that, you know, a lot of times we know that the mind, you know, our thoughts, you know, have an effect on our body. We get tense or tighten up somewhere, and we may not be aware that we're doing that to our bodies through our thoughts. But if we can reframe our thoughts, because those ants you were talking about, Dr. Daniel Amen talks about the
Yeah,
automatic negative thoughts. And I
exactly.
found out that our inner conversation is 80% negative, might be more actually.
Hmm.
But if it's 80% negative, it's looking at what's wrong. What's wrong with me? So I'm not good enough, that kind of conversation. What's wrong with you, the other people in my life? And what's wrong with the situation, whatever situation I'm facing at this moment? So it's automatic to see those ants, but we have a choice. We
Yeah.
can say, okay, thanks for sharing, mind. I appreciate it. You're just trying to warn me about dangers and so I can fix them. However, if you look at all those negative thoughts, are those empowering to you? All those things about not being good enough, is that helpful for your life? All those things about what's wrong with other people, is that going to build your relationships? And what's
Mhm.
wrong with this situation? It's a bunch of complaints and negativity. How does that feel in your body to have those
Mhm.
negative thoughts? It brings you down. Your whole body is feeling that. Whereas if
Mhm.
we think more positive thoughts, what's great about me, what's actually good about the people in my relationships, and what could
Mhm.
be the opportunity in this situation that I don't like, but here it is. It is what it is. And so we can start working with our mind, and our breath can help to calm us down so that we can begin thinking some positive thoughts. But it's a conscious choice, just like conscious breathing. It's
Yeah.
you have to make a conscious choice to say, thanks for sharing, mind. You're set up for survival. I get it. But here's what I want to create. I want to create that I'm great. I want to create that you're great. And that this situation, even though it may feel awful right now, I'm going to trust, because of my past experience shows me this,
Mhm.
trust that in the future, I will see what the benefit is of that bad situation. Because every bad thing that's happened to me, I've grown a lot. It's changed my path into a new direction that leads me more to my purpose, like you were talking about. And so now when bad things happen, I realize, hey, just go with the flow, just let things evolve as they will, do what I can to improve the situation, but I'm going to trust that down the road, I will be more of a contribution than I was before.
Yeah. And it's very important, as you said, Carolyn, to make that pivot,
Mhm.
right? And I think where many people miss the boat is we've taught to become very cerebral. And
Mhm.
we think that it's simply a matter of thinking something. But in reality, our thoughts don't have power. And that's where people miss it. The power comes from the breath, and the breath helps you to activate the emotion that will allow you to be motivated to make a change. So many times people say, well, I've tried those affirmations and they just don't work for me. And it's like, well, did you combine the affirmations with the power? So the affirmation is like guiding, right? But if you don't have a motor on that boat, you're not going anywhere,
Mhm.
or you may not go where you want to be, right? And so that is why it is so critical for people to understand that you are not going to be able to truly activate the programming that you're seeking without becoming conscious of manipulating the breath, because the breath is the seat of the power, the physical power, the mental power, the emotional power, the spiritual power, the breath. So even when you look at various spiritual traditions, there is always, I've never studied a spiritual tradition that does not include some aspect of breath work. And that breath work is woven into the various traditions. So for instance, my family is Catholic. And so we grew up with the hymn, and the hymns are slowing down the breath. And as you're humming, you're breathing through the nose, activating that nitric oxide that we were talking about before, that's helping to facilitate the elasticity of this circulatory system. It's also helping to slow down the thoughts, right? And it is in those moments that they tell you, and if you've gone through that experience, you realize that those are the moments where you have those inspirations, where it's like something just clicks inside of you. And where it was difficult before to make a certain decision, in that moment, everything comes together in that beautiful, beautiful synchronicity. And that is what enables you to pivot. When the body, the mind, the heart, and the spirit are working, as we say in HeartMath, coherently together on the same program in the same direction.
Wow, this is great. So tell me, what are some types of breath work that we could use?
Okay, awesome, awesome question. Love it. I always begin with the very beginning, which is just a breath of awareness. And so I'm going to invite everyone to just join me now. And if you're comfortable, just find a comfortable position where you are. And if you're safe in doing so, meaning you're not driving and you feel safe where you are, allow yourself to close your outer eyes and turn your attention in. And we're just going to take a deep cleansing breath in. And breathe out.
I just want to say one thing. I'm sorry for interrupting, but I just noticed that I was kind of slumped over instead of having an upright posture. And I can breathe much better when I'm sitting upright than when I'm slumped over. So
I love that you made that observation, Carolyn, because especially today, where most of us are like over a laptop or looking down at a phone, we are inadvertently, unconsciously impeding our breath, to roll back the shoulders, to open up, and we don't even realize that we're doing that. I mean, I look at people today and it's like everyone has like a curved posture. It's scary, very scary, especially for our children, and it's going to have a lot of health ramifications going down the line. But as you were saying, so thank you for reminding us to really open up. And if you need to, you can put like cushions behind you, whatever it is that you may need for that support. And what's going to happen is as you open up the upper chest, you're going to see a slight curvature in the lower back. So sometimes people take a little towel and roll it up and put it into the lower back for support, because a lot of times people have weak lower backs. And so it may be painful without some kind of support. So that first breath is just simply becoming conscious of the breath as we breathe in deeply and out completely. And breathing in deeply, and notice if your abdomen is expanding and breathing out. And as you breathe in deeply, notice if there's any pain or restriction or constriction anywhere in the physical body, and breathing out. And breathing in deeply into wherever you may feel some kind of tightness, breathing into that location and breathing out. And one more time, just breathing in deeply, just observing, no judgment, no condemnation, observing the thought, observing the emotion, and then breathing out completely. And then place your hands over your heart center. And now we're just going to breathe in to the heart and then breathing. And as we breathe into the heart center, activating gratitude and appreciation, gratitude that we are here today together, gratitude that we were able to access this information together, and breathing out, breathing in completely, deeply, activating that gratitude and appreciation that we're here for another day. So many people did not wake up this morning. Breathing out completely. And once again, breathing in, activating gratitude and appreciation, and breathing out. Thank you. So that is one of our first breathing patterns. And to just emphasize the importance of that preliminary breathing, to increase our awareness and to start the process of activating gratitude and appreciation. And what that does is that it helps us to shift from our sympathetic dominance into our parasympathetic. And what that means is that we live in a world that is filled with so many activators, let's put it that way. You know, whether we're scrolling on our phones or listening to the news or dealing with work or having to shuttle our kids here and there or dealing with the grandchildren, dealing with the crazy husband, crazy wife, whatever it is. Some of us are taking care of our parents, you know, and so it helps us to shift from that we may not even realize is going on, because as I said, it's become the white noise in our lives, right?
It's become normal.
So it becomes, our quote unquote new normal.
Mm-hmm.
So that first breath is about just taking a moment to do a temperature check. Where am I physically? Where am I emotionally? Where am I mentally? Where am I spiritually? Where am I? So that is one modality of breath work. And then there are other breathing patterns that help us to build, to rebalance physiology, as well as mental, emotion, spiritual. And then there are cleansing breaths. So I'm going to jump to one of the cleansing breaths. And this cleansing breath is what we refer to as Nadi Shuddhi. And there are different levels of Nadi Shuddhi. So we're going to do just a simple basic level of Nadi Shuddhi. And then there are other levels that include what we refer to as the bandhas or the bindings, where you're able to start to actually move the energy through different chakras in the body, through different levels in the body. But for today, we're going to keep it simple. Keep it simple,
Thank you.
sweetie. Because I don't want to overwhelm you guys, right? And we're going to do Nadi Shuddhi, otherwise known as alternate nostril breathing. So we're going to use our hands. We're going to use the thumb on one nostril, and we're going to use the two fingers on the other nostril. And we're going to basically alternate from one nostril, breathing in one nostril. We're going to hold the breath, and then we're going to breathe out, and then we're going to breathe back in through that same nostril. Okay, so let's try it together. We're going to breathe in for 4 counts. We're going to hold the breath for 4 counts. And then we're going to breathe out for 8 counts. And so this breath does a couple of things. It helps us to integrate the left and the right hemispheres of the body. It also helps us to clear or cleanse the body, both physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So physically, a lot of times this is a fantastic breath for early in the morning where you may be congested, you can feel you have stuffy nose kind of thing. And it also helps to be able to bring that clarity to the mind, right? So, and also it helps to down regulate some of the angst. So that is why we're going to extend the exhalation to 8 counts, whereas the inhalation was only 4 counts. So the exhalation is usually where we're able to shift into the parasympathetic, and the inhalation is when we activate the sympathetic. So you have the drive of the sympathetic, and we're going to balance and downregulate into the rest and digest, which is where the body, the mind, the heart, the spirit can restore, replenish, rejuvenate. Okay. So again, we're going to take our thumb on one nostril, and we have our little other 2 fingers ready, right? So we're going to breathe in through the left nostril, and we're going to hold the breath. 2, 3, 4. I breathe out through the alternate nostril. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now breathe in through that same nostril. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath. 2, 3, 4. Breathe out the other nostril. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathe in. Hold the breath. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. Breathe in. Hold the breath. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. Breathe in. The breath. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. Hold the breath. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So sometimes when you do that particular breath for an extended period of time, sometimes you can get to feel lightheaded. If that's the case, you just want to slow down, go back to just a 4-4 breath, and bring yourself back into the present, into the here and now.
That is very relaxing.
Yeah, it helps to clear away stuff.
Mhm. Thank you for taking us through those. That's really very beneficial. So you're good.
Just some very basic stuff, nothing to overwhelm you. And as you said, it's about practice to make it a conscious practice, because we all have to breathe.
Mhm.
And so, you can say, hey, I'm going to make that conscious decision to focus on my breathing when I stop at a stop sign to do a check. Okay.
And my posture.
And to do that check. Or you may say, hey, I'm going to do my conscious breathing while I'm brushing my teeth. Something that I do every day. So one of the ways to make it a part of your life is to connect it with something that you do anyway, right? Like I said, stopping at a stop sign, or every time I grab my key, I'm going to take a moment to just take a breath, or while I'm brushing my teeth, or as I'm turning off the lights to go to bed. Perfect time, absolutely perfect time to do that inner assessment as we prepare for sleep.
Right. So now tell me, are there any contraindications for breath work?
Mhm. So one of the key things about the breath is to not force it, right? And the second thing is that as you become more aware of how your body responds, that will clue you in to whether or not you need to proceed with different types of breath work practices. So there's certain types of breath work practices that can raise your energy, can increase what we refer to as the yang energy. And sometimes it may be too much for a person at a point in time. So if you are like energetically depleted, that is not the kind of breath work that I would suggest to you to start with, right? But the key, as I said, to always go back to that preliminary exercise that I did with you, which is a assessment, a check-in, and to ask spirit, to ask that inner wisdom, is this what I need to do? With everything, always trust that there's a part of you, that divine design that is inside of you, that you can always consult to check to see if this is something that you should proceed with at this point in time. And I say at this point in time because it may be a situation where you need to build up to it. Not that it's necessarily a quote unquote deleterious practice, but maybe you're not ready for that right here and right now.
Well, this has just been wonderful. I feel so
And
relaxed.
I encourage people to share this with everyone. Everyone, there are no contraindications. Everyone can do that preliminary exercise. And I encourage you to share it, especially with our children.
Mhm.
This powerful tool that if you start your children on that journey, oh my gosh, they will take it from there. Because as you start to make your breath work a practice, I can make this 100% guarantee that the spirit will guide you with regards to what you need to do next to bring your health to the next level. I guarantee you will have that clarity and you will have that wisdom if you choose to make this practice a part of your everyday life.
Yeah. And I love that first practice you did with us because, bringing in light and love to heal your body, to feel the gratitude, to feel the appreciation. That's a great way to start your day. instead of with all
Absolutely.
those ants running around.
Yeah.
You.
They will run. They will scatter
They'll
because
eat
they
your
don't like
day
the
up.
light. They don't like the light. I mean, have you ever noticed like when you turn off the light, that's when all the roaches and all the bugs come out. But as soon as you turn on the light, everybody scatters. And it's the same thing. All of those ants, all of those demons, all of those gremlins, when you breathe in that light, ah, they will scatter.
Yeah. Well, this is great. Thank you so much for this. Hey, I know you have a gift to offer our
Yeah.
audience. Tell us about that.
Oh, yeah. So the gift that we have for you guys is everyone gets access to our free Heal Thyself mini course. And this mini course is complete with over 20 videos on things that you can do here and now to bring your health to the next level, and also to give you a deeper understanding of the snakes and ladders, let's put it that way, of our current medical paradigm. So that gift is for everyone. And for those of you who choose to up level your game, to say, you know what, Carolyn, I'm ready to take my life and my health seriously, and you choose to become a VIP, you will have the ability to book a consultation with me at no charge, right? To go over a comprehensive risk assessment. So first you'll be given a comprehensive risk assessment. And I use this with all of my high paying clients. This is the first stop in their journey with me, to do this assessment, because this assessment helps me to help you, right? To give you insight into the things that you can use and address in your body, mind, heart, and spirit. If you're confused about, oh man, is it a blood sugar issue, is it a thyroid issue, adrenal issue, whatever it is, this assessment helps to give clarity to that. And I will be able to guide you in going through that assessment and giving you different types of insights and resources that are available to you.
Wow, you are so generous.
Ah,
Blessings.
anything for your community, Carolyn. Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, you're just the best. Well, how do people connect with you?
Okay. So there are a couple of ways that you can connect with us. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. Just put in Dr. Gamble Deanne, or you can connect with our YouTube channel, where we give awesome content, lots and lots of content that you can just geek out on, and that is Sankofa Healing and Enrichment on YouTube. And then you can also just email us, so sankofahe@gmail.com, or you can go to our website, theholistichealingdoctor.com. And I look forward to hearing from you guys, seeing you guys put some comments in the chats or anything of that nature. Would love to continue our conversation and our journey.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Gamble. This has just been a delight. You are a delight, and you're such a blessing. Thank you so much for the contribution that you are in this world and the
Thank
contribution
you.
that you've been to us today. So thank
Absolutely.
you, and thank you to our audience. And tune in tomorrow, because we have another wonderful guest sharing more easy, free, like this, tips to bring you to vibrant health. Many blessings to you, and bye for now.